Today we are going to study about forecasting in industrial engineering and management. Forecasting and its classification. What is forecasting? Forecasting is the assumption of demand for a particular period of time in future. Let the period of time be a month. 1 month is a particular period of time. Now it is April. Let the demand of April, actual demand of April be 20 units. Okay, then we are going to assume a value for May so that we might get ready for the actual demand which is coming towards our way during the month of May. Forecasting is basically done as a preventive measure so that we don't fall short of any units or any units of production during a particular month in the best case. Let the demand for April be 20 units. So we are going to assume a value using different techniques, but I am just telling you a value for the month of May. Let the forecasting value of May be 25 units. Okay, and that is the forecasted value. We are just visualizing a value that is 25 units depending on the value of the present month. Okay, that is the way forecasting is done. Now forecasting is classified into three different types. That is the judgment technique. Judgment technique is like I have just shown you 20. If 20 is for April and 25, let 25 be for May. I have done no calculation. Just I have done a judgment. The judgment would be superior because experts will do it, and that is known as the judgment technique. Based on various market conditions, supply, demand and everything, a judgment would be taken and a forecasted value for the next month or for the future months, that is the period of time, would be given using this technique. And in the time series method we have a lot of calculations. I will show you in the next slide. And there are some casual methods. This time series method and casual methods I will show you in the next part of the video. Okay, the time series methods. Past average. Here the forecast for a month is equal to the average of the previous month. Okay, for let forecasted value of January till April. We know the demand of January till April. January 20, February 20, March 25 and April be 20. Then forecasted value for May will be January, actual demand of January plus actual demand of February plus actual demand of March plus actual demand of April divided by 4. That is the average, the simple technique. And the value that we will get would be the forecasted demand for the month of May. That is the past average technique, but it is not preferable. The moving average method is similar to the past average method, but here as we get new demands we remove the old demands. Okay, if I have to calculate for the month of May using 3 months moving average method, okay, then I will not take January, February, March. If I want May, then I will take go reverse, 3 months reverse. May, I have to calculate May, then I will start from April, March and February, 3 months, and divided by the average value. I will not take January here because it is a old demand. The new demand is given more preference in moving average method. Moving average method formula is sum of demands of a given period. Sum of demands of a given period I have shown you for February, March and April divided by number of period divided by 3. We will get the forecasted value of May, we have weighted moving average method. It is similar to the moving average method, but here the most recent actual demand, that is the demand of the previous month, let it be in that case, the demand of the previous month is given more weightage. Okay, now the formula for this is forecast for the next month is D1 W1 D2 W2 D3 W3 divided by W1 plus W2 plus W3. D1 D2 and D3, what are this? D1 means DI, I have given I, 1 2 3 would be placed here. DI, demand for a particular period, and that is the actual demand, means the previous demand, that we know what was the actual demand. And WI is the weight given for a particular period. For D1 we will give weight W1. If D1 is the most recent, then weight W1 would be greater than all the other weights W2 and W3. Okay, if D1 is greater than D2, then W1 would be greater than W2. Similarly, if D2 is greater than D3, then W2 would be greater than W3. It is directly proportional to the most recent one. D1 is greater than, not I am saying not the values. If D1 for the month, if May, D1 is May and D2 is April, okay, then W1 would be greater than W2. D1 is for the month of May and D2 is the month of April. May is definitely new than April, so W1 would be greater than W2. May would be given more preference. If in some case, if the weightage is not given, sometimes you would definitely get the weightage. For May it is 0.5, April it is 0.3, and again March it will be 0.2. In some cases you will get the weightage for different months. But in some questions, these are the type of questions I am going to tell you which would come in GATE. They will not give you direct questions in GATE, so you don't expect the weightage to be given. If it is given, it is good. If it is not given, then first of all what we have to do is take out the sum. Sum is equal n into n plus 1 whole divided by 2. What is n? N is the total number of period which is taken to forecast a demand. Here D1, D2, D3, we can directly see that there are 3 different months. Okay, so n would be here 3 into 3 plus 1 by 2. That is simple. We will get the sum from there. And weightage is equal, there are different weightage we will get. N by sum, n minus 1 by sum, n minus 2 by sum. I will show you how to give a weightage to a particular demand. In the examples I will show in the further part of the video. Now there is exponential smoothing. If the number of period n becomes large, then it becomes difficult to calculate. So exponential smoothing is used. If n becomes large, then we have to add so many values, D2, W3, D4, W4, so many values, and it would become difficult for us to proceed with the calculation. So exponential smoothing is used. It uses the forecasted and the actual demand of the previous period to calculate the forecasted demand for the upcoming period. Through this line, it is just meant to say that if we know the demand and forecasted demand of April, then we will be able to calculate the forecasted demand of May. That is the technique used here. And the formula is f of t plus 1. T is, if t is April, T plus 1 would be May, 1 month. If weekly it is given week 1. Week 2's demand would be 1 plus 1, 2. Ft plus 1. T plus 1 is the just the one period advance. For the next month, T plus 1 is. If T is April, T plus 1 would be May. F of T plus 1 means F of May will be is equal to F of April plus alpha into dt minus ft. Here alpha is the exponential smoothing factor. The value would be given, and if not, we'll calculate by this formula. And what I have told you in the weighted moving average method, same value. Also f of t is equal alpha of dt minus 1. This is the generalized first order formula of exponential smoothing. Basically, you will be able to solve the problems using the first formula itself. Okay, kindly write down this, pause the video and write down these formulas. These are very important from the perspective of GATE. Casual forecasting, regression. What is regression? We put a constant value and some other value varies with respect to time or with respect to some other thing. This is known as regression. This is not very important from the perspective of GATE, but you can generally see the formulas. What are the formulas of regression? Y is equal a plus bt, yt is equal at plus bt square. Just visualize the formulas. Y is equal a plus bt, yt is equal at plus bt square. Then just put summation. This is regression formulas. This is not important from the perspective of GATE. Just I have shown you what casual forecasting is. These are linear regression formulas. This is casual forecasting. What is error analysis? This is an important topic. Mean error or bias, we can tell. Here t is equal 1 to n. T is equal 1 means let be the month be January till n, any month. N is any month. T is equal 1 to means January to, it may be February, January to March, January to December, anything. T is equal 1 to n. dt minus ft by n. dt is the demand for that particular month and ft is the demand for forecasted demand for that particular month. I will show you in example. You will be clear about it in the further part of the video. Mean square error, and the same formula is same, just dt minus ft whole square. Remember like that, don't make it complex. What is mean absolute deviation, MAD? It is same as bias, but in bias we would take a negative value in dt minus ft. If ft is greater than dt, definitely there would come a negative value. But in MAD, mean absolute deviation, we won't take that negative value. If dt for a particular month is 5 and ft is 6, then 5 minus 6 minus 1. But I will take 1 in mean absolute deviation. But in bias, it would be minus 1. That is the difference. And tracking signal is just summation of t is equal 1 to n dt minus ft by mean absolute deviation. These are the formulas. Write down the formulas. Pause the video and write down the formulas. We will solve some numericals based on time series method. First is the moving average method. Let the sales data for a particular period is given. Okay, for January, these are the actual sales data. These are not forecasted sales data. These are the actual sales data. For January, the number of units sold, these are the actual, is 10. For February it is 11. For March it is 16. For April it is 19. And for May it is 25. So we have to forecast the value of June. We have to forecast how many units would be sold in June using past 4 months. Here you are saying you have 5 months, January, February, March, April, May. But we have to calculate the data using only past 4 months. Then which months we would consider? The latest 4 months, that is May, April, March, Feb. These are the latest 4 months. Then F of June, forecasted value of June. This is not the number of units sold. It is the just then assuming value that this much units would be sold in June. Okay. It will be equal to February's actual demand 11, March 16, April 19, and May it is 25. Divided by total number of months, past 4 months divided by 4, it comes out to be 17.75. Can it, number of units cannot be in decimal or demand cannot be in decimal, so we will directly put a value next, put the next integer value. Okay, that is the simple weighted moving average method. Take the same question, go and write the question and see. We have to calculate using 4 month of average. So first of all, 4 month sum, we are not given the weighted average of this calculation. So sum is equal 4 into 4 plus 1 by 2. I have given you n into n plus 1 by 2. It comes out to be 10. Okay, and weight should be, what are the weights? N by sum 4 by 10, n minus 1 by sum 3 by 10, n minus 2 by sum 2 by 10, n minus 3 by sum means 4 minus 3, 1 by sum is 10. That is 4 by 10 is 0.4, 0.3, 0.2 and 0.1. I think you got it. So forecasted value of June would be 25 into 0.4, because in the table 25 was the actual demand for May and it is given more weightage, and 19 was the actual demand for April and it is given the second highest weightage. 16 was the actual demand for March and it is given the third highest weightage, and the least weightage is given to the most old month in the forecasting. So it is 11 into 0.1, 11 for February, and least weightage 0.1 is given to for the month of February, divided by W1, W2, W3, W3, add them. That you have got it, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2 and 0.1. Then the forecasted value of June would come out to be 20 using weighted moving average method. Numerical on exponential smoothing and error analysis. Draw the table, write down the values. Here we know the actual demand for each and every month, January, February, March, April, May, and we have to calculate the forecasted demand for May. Okay, calculate the forecasted demand for the month of May and analyze error till May using bias and MAD. I have given you the actual demand for May just for making easy in the calculation of error. Okay, now proceeding to the solution. After doing this, just fill the table with the forecasted values for each month. Okay, now the error analysis. What is bias formula? T is equal 1 to n dt minus ft by n. dt minus ft for January 21 minus 21, dt minus ft for February 24 minus 21 from the table, dt minus ft for March 23 minus 23, dt minus ft for April, it is 26 minus 23, and dt minus ft for May, it is 23 minus 25, divided by n. 5 months I have taken, divided by 5, it would come as 0 plus 3 plus 0 plus 2 3 minus 2. Okay, divide by 5, it will be 0.80. Through bias 0.80 is the value. Error analysis. And MAD, mean absolute deviation, same as bias, but I have told you that there is a minus 2 for the month of May. 23 minus 25 from the table, you see 23 minus 25, there is minus 2. In bias I have taken minus 2, but in mean absolute deviation it is plus 2. Divide by 5 is equal 1.60. And thank you for watching the video. We'll get back to you with the next chapter very soon. Okay, kindly subscribe and share if you have liked the video. Okay, thank you.